So this is leftover tri-tip meat that I cut up in, first I cut it up in slices, then I cut up in square pieces. Put some oil in the pan, heat it up. Then I added some chopped onion, and then I added like 3 spoons of Sofrito, which is a Puerto Rican seasoning. I have a video on how to make Sofrito. So you add that, so you saute it, and then once it's sauteed, then you add your meat that's already cut up, and then you just keep stirring it. Ooh, jumping at me, sorry. Just keep stirring it little by little. I have it on 6 right now because it started to go a little low. See, there's a big piece there that's actually chopped up. So you can see the green sauce in there, is that's the Sofrito. Just keep stirring it side by side. Now, baby. And I would recommend, once it starts to cook, to put it like maybe on 4 or 5. Yeah, and then we're boiling the tomatoes because we're going to make a sauce for the gorditas. And we got our masa ready here to make the gorditas. We got our oil. I'm going to, this is oil from yesterday, so it's still really good. But I'm going to drain the pieces from the gordita, from the meat of the gordita out. And I'm going to reuse this because we kept it nice and good. So you can tell it's clean oil, just has the pieces of the gordita. So I'm going to take those out and it'll be refreshed again. But if you want, you could use a whole new thing of oil. I know how I take care of my oil, and I know when it's still good and still fresh. So all I do is I'll reuse it the next day. It depends on what you're cooking too. Usually if I fry chicken, I usually have to dump it and re-put new lard or new oil because I make so much of it that it really doesn't look clear like this except for the little pieces. But when it's like this, it's still really good. So I just like drain out the pieces and reuse the oil. But that's just the next day. After that, I don't recommend it, and it just depends on you how safe and good you keep your oil. So yeah, so I poured that into that, and I'm going to drain it. And then with this, we're going to make a sauce. So once these are boiling and really soft, you peel the skin off, then you put it in the blender, and you put it with a half of the onion, a couple of garlic pieces, and then you blend it together. And then you're going to get a pan with oil, heat that up, put a little piece of garlic in there just to squeeze all the flavors out. Then you throw the garlic away. Then we're going to put the tomatoes, what we blended, so it's now liquid. Then we put it in that oil, and then we put a tablespoon of chicken bouillon powder, and we put 1 jalapeno. This today, because I did it the other day, I put 1 jalapeno. I'm going to do a couple of pieces of jalapeno in there. Sauce is really good. The gorditas will not be the same without the sauce, so I'll take you step by step. I'm not going to show myself because I'm in my pajamas and I have no makeup on because I just been organizing my room. But we decided we're going to do this one more time because yesterday was a hit and they just went flying, so we're going to try it again. So check. We'll be checking in a minute. So as you can see, I cleaned the pot. I drained the pieces out of the oil, and then I always go ahead and clean the pot nice and fresh with hot water and soap, of course. So that's done, and then this is my oil without all those pieces. See how nice and cleaner it is? Just those pieces are just from leftover pieces of either meat or the gordita. So then I'm going to put it in here, and I might need to add oil because what do you want to? You want to deep fry the gorditas is what it is. It makes it so much nicer and easier. So see how nice and clean it looks? So I'm going to put it over here. You can't see me. So it's now over there. I don't know if you can see it there. Look at me in my pajamas. These pajamas are so comfy. They're old, but they're comfy. I put it high enough so that I know that the gordita can deep fry. So that's how much I put. So I added some more. See how it looks nice and clean? Ready for the gorditas. And then I'm going to start getting the I'm debating on what cheese to use. So, well, let's see what I choose. So that's my daughter right there. That's her. She's, the masa's already made. She already made it. Now she's going to form it into a ball and then flatten it out so we can put what we have, the meat and the cheese in there. So I'm going to put this in a bowl so it's easier for you to read. So we don't, the cheese that I used yesterday was queso fresco. It's a Mexican cheese, it's soft, but we only have this cheese, which is dry cheese, queso seco. So we're going to use that in the inside of it. So how do you go about this? Here's the meat. So here's the meat that came out of the pan that I just showed you that was sauteing. So I just went ahead and put it in a bowl so that she's not putting her hand in a hot pan. And that way she could reach it more better. And then we got the cheese. So we got, let's see if I can show. There's the meat. There's the cheese. So she's ready to make the gorditas. Hold up, but now I'm gonna wash this for you. So this is the drainer that we're gonna put the gorditas in, so they all the oil could drain off of them. And we're going to put them right by the pan. We don't have to go too far. And then she's going to get started on making them. And then I'm going to look at my pajamas. Oh my God, they're like, girl, please. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Oh, no. Oh, did I put that? Yeah, it's on. Hold on. 6. How do I do this? Okay. Do you know how to make it? No. How do I, like, okay, let me make one. Don't touch it. What are you doing? I don't know. You're touching it. I just think I could survive, but I can't. So I'm going to make one just to refresh her memory. She's done these before, but... So I take like that size of masa and then I just start flattening from hand to hand, flat hand, like that. Then I finally form a ball and then I start flattening it. I take my fingers, I start extending it, flattening it. They're not that big of gorditas, they're like a cookie size. So when I get it pretty much that flat, then I put in a little bit of the meat, some cheese, hopefully this cheese, and then I start folding it. Folding at the edges, that dropped off, and then I start pinching it, bringing it together and pinching it. Like that much so cheese? Now you don't see the cheese in the meat that much anymore? More cheese or no? That's fine. Sometimes it'll still open up and you just keep pinching and putting together. And then you start flattening it again. They're not going to be perfectly round. They're not going to be perfect. So as long as you can try to keep the meat and the cheese in the masa, that's the important thing. So see, these are not perfectly round. They have some slits that you try to close. But this is what you want. And then you just put them in the oil. So now she's going to do the next ones. Yeah, sometimes you stop paste them together. Hoping that I cut up enough meat.
Well, it doesn't take that much.
by the way, when you make the meat, when you saute the meat, you don't have to put sofrito like I did. I'm Puerto Rican. That's our famous seasoning. So I like it. It gives it such a good flavor. But if you're not Puerto Rican, you don't know anything about sofrito, I do have a video on how to make sofrito. If you want to try it, I recommend it. But if you don't, you can put your own little spin to it. You could put just some chopped onions like I did. You could put some chopped tomatoes, chopped bell pepper, or whatever sauce or seasoning that you like. Now remember, the meat, I'm using leftover tri-tip meat, so it's already seasoned. So now you have to be careful with adding seasoning. So I recommend, if you don't want to put sofrito, put some chopped onions, chopped tomato, and chopped bell pepper. Because, like I said, the meat already has season. And that will make it even better because it has vegetables. Now, the sofrito is made of all of that stuff, so you don't need it. I still do like to add onions, extra onions, because I love onions. But the sofrito contains onions, garlic, bell pepper, the sazon packets from Goya, which are this right there. You can get this at your Walmart. So yeah, it already has onions, garlic, bell pepper, that sazon. And so it already has it in the sofrito. And it has cilantro. So you have all your vegetables and more. If you make the sofrito, just add like 3 or 4 spoons of it. But if you want like fresh cut up vegetables, that's also good. Papi said he didn't have enough. He loved them, but he wanted more meat, so he ended up adding more meat to the side. But you can only put so much meat in it. It's just like an appetizer, really. And then you can add, to eat with your gorditas, we're going to have the sauce, which is amazing. But you can also add your own spin to what you want on the side, whether you want extra meat on the side, if you want to eat this with some rice or some mashed potatoes, which I don't know how mashed potatoes will fit. Anything that, any sides that you like that may fit well with it, you can put your own spin on it that way too. I'm also going to show you.
This is not working. It's falling apart.
Are you pinching it?
Yeah, if I pinch it, it falls apart like it's water.
No, when you make the ball.
Confused.
That's good. Just put it in there like that. It's not going to be
not
perfect.
gonna fit
Some
it.
are going to be fatter. Some are going to be thinner.
I'm gonna start flipping it.
Okay. So
My hands
then,
are greasy.
what I just do is I take my big spatula and I kind of just turn it. See, like this one open. It's okay. It's just going to go into the oil.
All of them are.
See, so the sides, this is why it's important for the sides to be closed. See how that side open? You can lose all your meat there. This one happened to be okay. So I just start turning them. Just deep frying the other side. And then I'm going to show you about the tomatoes. So I'm going to take this small pot and with the drainer spoon, with this drainer spoon, I know it's old, I need to get a new one. But with this, I'm going to take the onions out of there, but you're going to keep the water from the tomatoes because you're going to use that. So I don't know if you guys can see me over there.
I can't. My hands are
Here,
greasy.
hold it.
Too late.
You did it? Okay, so now you guys can see me. So, I don't know if you can see from there. You can tell that they're soft, that they're ready to be peeled. Here, let me go. Just to make sure all of them are ready. I'm going to leave it a little bit more because I did add one tomato afterwards, so we'll come back to that. So you can see as the pan, it depends on how big your pan is. You can fit 3 or 4 in here. We were able to, it depends on how size your gordita is. So, leave it a few more minutes. And then if you want to put it on a plate,
Did you flip all of them?
you can put the ones that you're making on
Did you
this plate.
flip all of them?
Yeah. So I'm going to have her put that right there. all the tomatoes are ready, so I'm going to take my drainer, try to get them out of there. You drain the water, put it into your other pot. You could do this on a plate, on a pan, wherever you're comfortable doing. Like I say, you save the water because you're going to need that water. Then I'm going to transport it to a plate. Because we need to peel these. So I'm going to put them on the plate. Then you're just going to go. You're going to peel the skin. Oh, it's hot, so be careful, you guys, when you do this. So how you're supposed to peel them while they're hot because it's supposed to make it easier.
Oop. Oh. Okay, that's not gonna be used.
So then I'm putting them back in this pot because I got my peelings over here. I don't know if you can see it from over there. Let me try this. So it's basically like that. See how soft and how the skin is already coming off? So you're just going to peel the rest of the skin off. It's not easy. It's very hot, so please be careful. Yesterday I only did 4 tomatoes because I thought that's all I had. Wasn't quite enough. We ended up making it enough, but I wanted to do more tomatoes today. And I'll bring it closer to you so you can see.
Do they need to be taken out?
Huh?
The ones that are in there?
Yeah. I think so. Ah! Jesus, that hurt. We're going to flip it one more time. And then a couple of minutes, and then we're going to put in our drainer.
Oh, it burnt me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I backed up.
Pause the camera. We need that thing. So I brought the camera closer so you could see how I'm peeling the tomatoes. This is all peelings. See how it just supposedly comes off really easy, but because the tomatoes are hot and you need to, I guess, I don't know what happens if you would let them cool down. I think it would just make it hard for to peel the tomato. But you can try it if you don't want to take a chance doing it like this. I'm taking the ends of it off. I could have did that from the beginning and not waited till this part. But sometimes I have to use the fork to peel it because it's so hot. There's little pieces. It's hard to see. that one goes in there. And then we got our last one. Oh God. I should turn that off, huh? Doesn't matter. I'm going to use that water. See, this one kind of peeled really easy. I don't know if you can see that. But it is hot, so please, please be careful when you do this. Make sure there's no children around. Make sure you protect your eyes or your hands as much as you can. Take your time, all that good stuff. Oh, it fell back into, oh. It's a good thing because I got to take this end off. Okay, there we go. They're all peeled. And then you just dump this. Okay, so now I'm going to do the sauce. I have my old blender here. I got to totally get a new blender. This one's not old, but the thing got stuck one day and can never come off. So we have a hard time cleaning it because we have to pull the cord with this, but make sure the cord stays dry. All that stuff. So I got to get a new one. I have a nice Ninja one that's right over there. I don't know. It's a lot of stuff over there. It's right there. But that one's used for smoothies, desserts, anything that's not spicy, chili, saucy. It's used for our smoothies. That's what my husband got it for me for my smoothie. So I don't want to mix this type of stuff and that, because no matter how good, and I clean it with hot water and soap, all my stuff I disinfect, you still tend to carry that smell because sometimes jalapeños, chiles, saucies, they kind of just seem to stay there no matter how much you clean it. Trust me, I try. So I try to keep two separate blenders, one for food that's saucy and salty and chili and all that stuff, and one for fruit and desserts and stuff like that. So I'm going to get another one because I'm kind of tired of going through this. Just some FYI information. It kind of took too many minutes of your time, but just wanted to show you that. So I got the tomatoes that we peeled, boiled and peeled. I'm going to put them in the blender. Then I'm going to put a half of an onion, so like this much in there, and then I'm going to put like three or four pieces of garlic. So maybe I'll put 4 because I got a lot to spare. And then you just blend it. This is so odd. So I do like a green smoothie. I forgot to put the water in, but I'm glad I did because I want to show you the difference. Without the water, it had a little bit of water in here from the tomatoes being peeled, kind of still carried a little bit of water in there. But if you don't do it without water and you want your sauce to be thick, you can do that too. See how thick that is? You can keep it like that, or if you want a little bit more runnier, or you could do it that too. I kind of like it just like this. So yesterday I had it more liquid. I'm thinking of just putting maybe a little bit more water, and we're taking that water from the pot that we boiled it in. You're going to use that same water, and I'm just going to take a little bit. So it's going to be like that because it still has the flavor of the tomato. Gotta bring this out some more. So I'm just put a little bit, not too much, because I kind of like it thick. So I'll just blend it a little bit more. So let's see how thick it is. It's a little bit more runnier, but I think that's okay. We're gonna, and then you know what? Actually, I could put more water in it. You know what? Because we're gonna boil it or saute it some more. So I'm gonna put a little bit more water in it. I just thought about that. But I probably wouldn't put any more than that. So you can test it as it goes. So it's all up to you. If you like your sauce nice and thick, less water. If you want a little bit more runnier, but you know it's going to get a little bit thicker by sauteing it or frying it, then you can add a little bit more water. It's all on your taste. So it's a little bit more runnier, but it's not too runny, but it's not as thick as it was when I showed you that first spoon. So I'm stirring it a little bit. that's it for that. And I'm going to plug in it because, like I said, I can't get this top off, so I don't want the plug to get wet and get electrocuted. So please be careful with appliances as well. I'm going to clean this little space over here. So now we're going to put a pan with some oil, and we're going to saute it or fry it, however you want to call it. So let's see. So I'm going to put it in this pan, but I have to bring it to the blender because remember the blender is hard to take. Actually, I'm not going to even put that in yet. I'll show you that. Okay, let me put the oil first. So you put your oil, not too much, just enough to cover the pan. So like that. I'm going to put it like on number 6, and then I'm going to add a couple of garlics to give flavor. So it's going to look like that. So we'll let that oil heat up, and we'll go from there. So you can see it's hot, it's popping. I put the lower down. So now I'm going to add in the sauce. So the pan is ready. I removed the garlic. That was just to give it some flavor. So now I'm going to throw in the sauce that we have in this blender. Remember, I can't take the blender top off, so I have to take it with me. Ah, sorry, got scared. Please be careful because that's exactly what can happen. Made a big mess. So yeah, be careful. That can happen. It didn't happen to me yesterday, thank God. But even though I had already lowered it for a few minutes already, it still had that poppy. That popping. You got to jump that kind of thing. So now I'm just cleaning. It's kind of becoming a mess here. This is a messy recipe, but trust me, it is so good. So yeah. So now we're gonna just stir it around because I lowered it. Make sure everything is stirred together. You have to be careful because this is not the pan that I used yesterday. I actually used a pot, which I might recommend the pot better because you have enough room to stir easily and without having the fear of it pouring out onto the stove or stuff like that. So I just, in this kind of pan, you want to softly stir it around. In a pot, you might have more leeway. Then I'm going to add the jalapeno. I'm going to churn the Gorditas here. I can't see it because I would have to. I wish I would have thought of doing this video from the very beginning. You didn't miss much. The only thing you missed is how we made the masa, which you just take your masa, add a tiny teaspoon of salt, or you can use, I've done it with no salt, it doesn't matter, and then a half a stick of butter, and then you get hot water in a cup, and you start pouring hot water little by little, and squeezing, kneading your masa together, a little bit more hot water, a little bit more squeezing, till you get it to the consistency or the texture that you want. And then, like I said, for the pan, the meat, I just added chopped onions and oil, and then I added my 3 spoons of sofrito. Like I said, you can use cut up vegetables if you want. If you're not familiar with sofrito, really don't feel it. Like I said, I do have a video on how to make it. So, and there's plenty of other videos on how to make sofrito too. If you don't want to see mine, there's plenty of other Puerto Rican chefs on YouTube. They can show you. One that I totally recommend and that I've learned so much from her on how to cook Puerto Rican food. She's probably my favorite YouTuber chef. I mean, she's not like a professional chef, but she's those people that have cooked since they were little, and they cook from the heart, from the soul, all the traditional and even new modern recipes. She's got it. And I chose her because there's so many Puerto Rican chefs on YouTube as well as other cultures. I chose her out of many of them, and there's other ones that I see too for like different reasons. Maybe one is better at dessert or better at drinks or whatever, but I chose her because she was the closest to how my mom used to cook, and so I was familiar with that. I had the basics down, but I've learned so many recipes from her that my mom used to make, because my mom is no longer here to teach me. She would have been so proud. She never would imagine me being in the kitchen. I always expressed an interest, but my mother never had measurements. She just threw things together and it came out perfect. And so she said she didn't know how to teach me because she couldn't teach me like 1 tablespoon, 1 cup. She didn't do it like that. My husband is a good cook too, and he even knows how to cook some Puerto Rican food, but he doesn't have the patience. He's like, if you turn the spoon the wrong way, like, gives him nerves, and so he just cooks really fast, so he really doesn't have time to sit there and go step by step. So one day I was just sitting down, just really heavily thinking of my mom and how much I missed her and everything about her, but her cooking was coming to my mind, and I thought, I really want to be a wife that can cook for my husband and my children, and I also want to learn as much culture food as I possibly can. Why not start with my people's food? So I just got on YouTube. I said, there's got to be cooks on YouTube. Everything else is on YouTube. And I found so many that I learned how to cook. So now I can cook everything. Puerto Rican food, Mexican food. I even did some Italian dishes, a Portuguese dish. I know how to do Salvadorian dishes. So, and I just keep doing them just to get practice, because you get better with practice. But the one YouTuber, like I said, Puerto Rican, that I recommend and that I learned a lot from is Evelyn Dominguez. Look her up. She's amazing. She lives with her family and her grandchildren, and she's so good. And she does them in English and in Spanish, so if you don't understand Spanish, she has an English version of it, or you could just watch her and follow it by just watching her. She shows you all the ingredients, every step by step. She'll repeat it. She's just good. So remember, Evelyn Dominguez, look her up. So yeah. Okay, so this is a jalapeno. I don't know if it's a mix or if it's straight from the can. I think it's straight from the can that my husband put in this Tupperware dish just to have every time we eat. He could just come and get some instead of opening the can. And I think it was a big can, so I needed to be in this. So I'm going to take some of these jalapenos. You could take a whole jalapeno and just open it up and then put in there, but these are already opened up, so it makes it easier. So I just take some, you put it in there. I did one yesterday, but I think it needs more. I'm not a hot, spicy jalapeno chili kind of person. I do like it though, but I like when they put it on the side so I could determine how much I can tolerate. But if it's already in the mix, it gets really hard. So I'm putting a few more than like I said yesterday, I just did one. So I think I put maybe 5 in there so far. So I'm just going to put one more. And that's it. Because my husband's really the one that really is into the hottest of the hottest stuff. But we're not. We're like it little by little. Let us determine how hot we want it. We can't handle it. So I'm going to put the camera on the sauce. So you're going to go ahead and stir it again with those jalapenos. This recipe, this sauce recipe, I learned, her name is Jeanette, but her channel is called Hawa. I think it's Jauja Cocina, something like that. She's a Mexican. Again, she's not a professional chef that I don't think she is. She just cooks in her home and just can cook amazing Mexican food. And she's like the traditional, typical Mexican food. I mean, I've learned a lot from her when it comes to Mexican recipes. So when I want to learn how to do something Mexican, I look up her channel. I got a few others, but she's probably my top one that I go to. There's another young girl that Marisol Pink Soul, something like that. But she's like a comedy, so it's just too much comedy for me. But her recipes are good as well. But you can look up any, if you know the name of a recipe, look it up by name and it'll come up with all these different cooks. Or you can just look up Mexican cooks, or however way you want to look it up, or by the name of the food or whatever, and a bunch. And then you choose just the one that you kind of can connect with, that it seems familiar with, or that you like their style, or maybe some recipes are easier than others. They're the same recipe, same food, but a lot of people make it, they're different. Ooh! Got my hand. You gotta lower it down now. Sorry, we're trying to lower it down. Okay, so we're just letting that saute the sauce. That's all you need to do. And then you just serve it. She's making more gorditas. We usually do a basket full. I have to make some more probably later if we need more. There's always more meat and more stuff. Like you see, we have extra meat. I mean, she can actually get a little bit more masa and do some more until the meat is gone. Or probably just hold the meat for later. So that's it. So they're deep frying and they're being added to the basket. Our sauce is almost ready. And then we'll come back and show you what it looks like completely finished. Okay, this is the plate of my gorditas with the tomato sauce. Oh my God, it's a tomato salsa, I should say. So that's what you do. You drizzle the sauce all over the gorditas, and there you go. So I'm gonna take a bite to see how it comes out. It is so good. Oh my God, I wish you guys can taste it. And that sauce is perfect for gorditas. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I'm gonna put, hopefully it'll work, put the recipe and the ingredients on the bottom of the description bar, and try it. Let me know what you think. So yeah, so please give this video a like. Don't forget to give it thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to hit that notification bell, which gives you heads up on all the videos I upload. So just hoping that I came through and it was fun. Like I said, I wish I would have got it, the couple ingredients that I did in the beginning from the beginning, but I think you get my point. So try it. It's so good. So until my next video, take care.